translation. Karmis are always anxious to accumulate wealth for their sense gratification, but for that purpose they must work very hard. Yet even though they work hard, the results are not satisfying. Indeed, sometimes their work results only in frustration. But the devotees who have dedicated their lives to the service of the Lord can achieve substantial results without working very hard. These results exceed the devotees' expectations. Purport. We can practically see how the devotees who have dedicated their lives for the service of the Lord in the Krishna consciousness movement are getting immense opportunities for the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead without working very hard. The Krishna consciousness movement actually started only with 40 rupees, but now it has more than 40 crores worth of property. And all this opulence has been achieved swiftly. All this opulence has been achieved within 8 or 10 years. No karmi can expect to improve his business so swiftly. And besides that, whatever a karmi acquires is temporary and sometimes frustrating. In Krishna consciousness, however, everything is encouraging and improving. The Krishna consciousness movement is not very popular with the karmis, because this movement recommends one refrain from illicit sex, meat-eating, gambling, and intoxication. These are restrictions that karmis very much dislike. Nevertheless, in the presence of so many enemies, this movement is progressing, going forward without impediments. If the devotees continue to spread this movement, dedicating life and soul to the lotus feet of Krishna, no one will be able to check it. The movement will go forward without limits. Chant Hare Krishna. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshusomritam Jaina Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vanchakalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhevacha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you everyone for coming. So this chapter is entitled The Demigod's Appeal to the Lord. Again, they're always going to the Lord for protection or whatever. So, and these are very nice prayers by Lord Brahma on behalf of the demigods. So even though they're saying so many nice prayers praising the Lord, very realized prayers, still they're illusioned and they're still attracted to the material energy, because they have so much material opulence. It is very difficult for them to give up, and it's very difficult for them to appreciate pure devotional service. Anyabilasita sunyam jnana kamadi anavritam anukulena Krishna anusilanam bhakti uttama. Pure devotional service is uncontaminated, free from the desire to enjoy the fruits, and free from jnana, which is speculation. But because they have so much wealth, their intelligence becomes covered. They are actually very intelligent. The demigods are way more intelligent than we are. We're nothing. We're just like, compared to the demigods, we're just like ants. So you can imagine the difference. But still, their intelligence is covered because of the material opulence. And they're constantly having to, the whole Bhagavatam is just demigods going to Brahma, oh Brahma, please help us. And this whole situation is well, actually two things. The curse of Devasha Muni to Indra. You all know the story from the beginning. And then fighting with the demons for the nectar of immortality. And because of the curse and that fighting, they've lost all their material opulence. And now they're crying to the Lord. So the demigods are in that position of forgetfulness, what to speak of the human beings on this planet. Here is explained about the karmis. Karmis are very busy trying to accumulate wealth. And this is their main aim in life, sense gratification. But actually the karmis are higher than the V-karmis. The V-karmis, they have no... they're not following any Vedic principles at all. They're like animals. So here is specifically describing about the karmis. But their aim is like that of the demigods, sense gratification. And they have to work very, very hard. We can see this in society, especially these days. People are having to actually work harder and harder and harder just to survive. Everything's gone up. I was just having a conversation the other day with some man. I was on Sankirtan distribution. And I had this conversation regularly because it's what's on people's minds. Because society is changing, or it's been molded in such a way that people have to work like dogs and asses. So they can be controlled. Because when you're so busy working, then you're not going to cause any problems. So the big demons actually like this, when people are so busy. So busy just to put a little bit of food on the table and pay the mortgage or a rent. And the result is complete frustration, as is explained here. Only frustration. There may be, sometime, for a little bit, they may be happy. We see people, very wealthy. You may look at them and you think, no, actually, they're actually happy, but deep down, they're not. You can tell. Because they have to work so hard in order to maintain that lifestyle. But it's explained here that devotees don't have to work so hard. When I saw this purport, I was thinking, well, yeah, of course it's true, because whatever's in the Bhagavatam is true. Does that mean the devotees are lazy? Because they don't work hard? I remember when I first joined, we worked very hard. We went out and book distribution 6 days a week, and from 9:30 in the morning till 5:30 in the evening. And if you finished at 5:15, the Sankirtan leader would get on your case. I remember being in the Sankirtan office. I think it was Arjuna was the Sankirtan leader, and I finished about 5 o'clock because I wasn't feeling well, I had a headache, and he was getting on my case. You're always doing this. What's wrong with you? And devotees do work hard, actually, even though here it says they don't. But the point is, they're not working hard for their own sense gratification. But for Krishna, they'd work 10 times harder than the karmis, or 100 times harder than the karmis, or 1,000 times harder. And the results are amazing. I mean, we have our own Ananda Chaitanya Prabhu here. He can go out and distribute between a marathon, between 100 and 150 Maha Big books. Now, for anyone's standards, that's amazing, isn't it? And in order to distribute that amount of books, you've got to collect a lot of Lakshmi. So you must be collecting between £400 and £600 a day. I mean, no karmi can actually do that. I remember hearing a story, I don't know where the source is, but this was during Prabhupada's time. There was one book salesman. Well, I think he was a book salesman. He was a salesman anyway, and he was the biggest salesman in the country. And he said to the devotees, I bet I can distribute loads of books. So the devotees said, okay. They gave him some books. Do you know the story? They gave him some books, sent him out, and the whole day he hardly did anything. Struggled like anything. Because his whole motivation was material. What can I get from this which is going to satisfy me? Like the Kami's motivation. And, lo and behold, he couldn't do anything. Sometimes you get devotees who have no material ability at all, who are actually introvert. And when they join, they have no way of communicating even. But then they end up doing amazing things. I've seen devotees that are quiet, so humble, and they go out and they distribute an amazing amount of books and collect loads of Lakshmi. And you hear stories about in the past. This is we're talking Prabhupada's time, maybe 80s. Devotees going out to festivals, and the ladies used to sell flowers. I think once they went to see the Pope, and obviously there's thousands of people, and they were giving out flowers, and they'd run out of flowers, so they just started selling leaves. Leaves, here you go. This is, the Pope stood on this. You know what devotees are like? Oh, really? There's £10. But only devotees can do that. Because they're fearless, because they know they're doing it for Krishna. And the results are amazing, actually. Devotees go to festivals, they collect £2,000 in one day, or amazing results. But it's not like they're going out working for themselves. But as soon as you think that the result is for me, then Krishna takes it away. We've all experienced that, especially those that go out in book distribution, right? Maybe in under Chaitanya not so much. But I know I have. I was going out last week and it was sunny. And the people were in a really nice mood because the sun was out. And because the sun is a reflection of the beautiful body of Krishna, when you look at the sun, it makes you feel happy. And because we've had a couple of months of darkness, people were very happy that day, a couple of days. And it was amazing. The result, people were actually, one woman, I was standing in the car park, one woman ran across the car park holding a £10 note. She said, "Is that the Bhagavad Gita?" She said, "I've been looking for that for years. Can I have one?" I said, "Of course you can. And you can have more than one if you want." And then she went back, and she came back, and she had this fruit cake that she had made herself. She said, "I want to give you this." Obviously, I didn't take it because it had egg in it. But I appreciate the offer. It was nice of her to do that. And the whole day, people were just reciprocating really nicely. I read that book, the Bhagavad Gita. I've been wanting that book for years. Can I have one? 2 days, it was amazing. But the third day wasn't so amazing. Actually, it was completely different. No one was interested. It was like I had, "I am a demon, keep away," written on my forehead in red ink. You've had those days? Yeah? I was kind of... I don't smell. Or you do the breath test. You're trying everything. And it just wasn't happening. So then I was taking a few moments out to contemplate, like you always do when it's tough. And then I was thinking, okay, Krishna, I've been through this before. I know the score. You're reminding me I'm not the doer. You're reminding me I'm not the person that creates the results. It's you. So I understand now. So can you please give me the result now? I got it. But he didn't. You see, Krishna is not really interested in the result. What Krishna wants from us is our surrender. So even when it's tough, it doesn't matter. As long as we carry on, whether you're doing book distribution or whatever service, or whether you're just living your life as a devotee, we're going to be put through difficulty. And if it's only the result that we're after, then as soon as we get put into that difficulty, we're not going to be able to cope. Unless you have some bhakti there, some devotion towards Krishna. Whatever I'm doing in my life, this is for Krishna. Whether you're working outside in a regular job, because many devotees do, they have to work. You have to do it in a mood of devotion to Krishna. And of course, it's a lot more difficult when you're a grahastha, of course. Because when you're a brahmachari or renounced, then the result is automatically all given to the temple. And you don't have any connection. Therefore, it's very easy not to get contaminated. But when you're grahastha, then you have to use some of that result to maintain yourself. So it's very important that we don't misuse it, that we live a pure life, and then we won't get a reaction. But if we misuse that result in sense gratification, then the reaction is going to be there, even if you're a devotee, depending on the seriousness of the sense grat. So, being attached to the result has very difficult consequences. It's compared to, there's a parable in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's compared to wasps and drones that sting you, the result of the fruits of your activities. And the more you become attached to the results of those activities, the further you become bound by the material nature, material energy. And ultimately, the result is the abode of Yamaraj. It says that in the CC. It's quite serious. So Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita 3.26, Na buddhi bhedam janayat agyanam kama sanginam jasyat sarva kamani vidvam yuktaha samacharam. This is very important, not just for us in our own lives, but also for preaching purposes. So Krishna says in this verse that we shouldn't disturb those people that are like the karmis who are attached to sense gratification. We shouldn't disturb them and tell them not to work, because everyone has to work. That will be an inconvenience. We can't say to them, stop working and just all move in the temple. Then you have loads of people that have got nothing to do. But instead we have to encourage them to offer the results to Krishna in the mood of devotion. And then slowly they will elevate themselves to Krishna consciousness. I mean, this can also apply to us as well, not just to karmis. Because our devotional service is also mixed. We want to serve Krishna, but at the same time we also have a desire to want to enjoy. That's the nature of the conditioned soul. But Krishna wants us to come to the point of pure bhakti. You know? So unless we strive for that pure bhakti, then we're always going to struggle. There'll always be a struggle. Because sometimes devotional service is like a struggle, isn't it? You have a demon in your head and you have an angel, right? Should I go to the morning program today? No, just stay back. Relax. You've been working hard. Shall I finish my rounds? No, it's okay. watch a bit of TV. You haven't spaced out for a long time, Prabhu. You deserve it. It's been a long marathon. So this is always going to be there, that struggle. But Krishna, he wants us to listen to him, the Super Soul, and get rid of that other voice in our head, which is wanting us to constantly enjoy our devotional service. Sometimes we think that devotional service is an activity which is going to bring us happiness. It does. But if we go to devotional service with that approach, we will never be happy. The mood is that whatever I am doing is for Krishna's pleasure, not my pleasure. And as soon as we do devotional service in the mood of pleasing Krishna, and then automatically we will become pleased ourselves. There's a verse in the Bhagavad Gita 5:29, Bhaktaram yagyat pasam Savaloka Maheshwaram Sridam Savabhutanam Gyanthamam Shantim Richati. This is a very important verse, because in this verse we can, if we remember three things from this verse, we can become free from fear, we can become free from wanting to enjoy the fruits of our activities. First one is Krishna is Bhaktaram Yagyat Pasam. He is the beneficiary of all work carried out and all yagyas performed. For his pleasure. Like I said earlier, it is not for our pleasure. And the second one is Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, that Krishna is he is the proprietor of all the demigods and all the planets. In the Ishopanishad it says, Isha Vasya Idam Sarvam Yat Kincha Jagatyam Jagat Tenak Tena Bunjita Magritya Kasya Svidhanam. That everything, animate and inanimate within this material cosmos, is owned and controlled by Krishna. Jai Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda, Shri Shri Ramakrishna Hanuman, Shri Shri Goni Tai Ki Jai. But Krishna is very kind, that he gives, according to our karma, he gives us a certain amount of material facility. But we have to be careful we don't misuse what he's giving us. Otherwise we get a reaction. So he is Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Everything belongs to him. Therefore we have no claim. Actually, my wife, my husband, my children, my job, my body, everything belongs to Krishna. So we have to try to work in this mood, this understanding. And the third one is Suridam Sarvabhutanam, that Krishna, he is the friend and well-wisher of all the living entities. When we go through difficulty, sometimes we become frustrated, even in our spiritual life. And we begin to wonder, Krishna, why are you doing this to me? Why do I deserve this? But if we remember this, that Krishna is actually our friend and well-wisher, that whatever he does to us, even if it may seem something bad, actually it's for our benefit. When something good happens to us, when Krishna gives us loads of Lakshmi, you do a big sale on paintings or something, Jai. Thank you, Krishna. You're so kind. I got a result. But as soon as something bad happens, you think, oh, Krishna, why? I don't deserve this. But actually, Krishna, you do deserve it. Krishna's doing it for our benefit. He's actually our only well-wisher, true well-wisher. So it's important, these three things. That Krishna Bhaktaram Yagyatpasam, he is the beneficiary of all work and sacrifices. He is the maintainer, he's the owner of all the demigods and planets, and he is our friend and well-wisher. If whatever we do, if we remember these three things, then then we will overcome our material desires. And we'll become fearless, actually. Fearless. Prabhupada was fearless, wasn't he? I went to India in February. I hadn't been for 15 years. And when we go to India, everything is laid on, you know. We book our ticket, we've already booked our accommodation, we know what we're going to eat, we know where we're going to eat, we know who we're going to stay with, everything's planned. So what is the point of being frustrated? Imagine Prabhupada, when Prabhupada was on the Jaladuta, he didn't have a clue what was going to happen when he got off of the boat. And all he had was 40 rupees. And you can't even change 40 rupees into dollars. So why he had 40 rupees, that's the question. I don't know. Does anybody know? Maybe. Sorry? I spent it when he went back to India, yeah. But while he was in America, he couldn't do anything with his 40 rupees. Nothing. All he had was the first 3 volumes of the Srimad Bhagavatam and a bag of cereal. I mean, was he going to eat cereal? But Prabhupada would have just lived on cereal if he had to. But the point is, he was fearless. Prabhupada was fearless. Because he knew Krishna was his well-wisher, Krishna was his protector, and everything belonged to Krishna. And even though in this purport, Prabhupada's actually been quite humble by saying the results come quite easily. But actually the result didn't come very easily. Prabhupada struggled. A lifetime of preparation. We all know Prabhupada going out in Delhi, distributing the Back to Godhead in the middle of summer. And then he got attacked by a cow or bull. And then he lay on the floor on the side of the road. But he just got up and he just carried on next day. Just carried on. And even when Prabhupada was here, he was alone for a whole long year. And then there's that story where he's sitting on a bench and he's talking to this man. I think it was a tramp or a bum. Was it? Tramp. Yeah. And the man was asking Prabhupada, what are you doing? What do you do? Prabhupada said, we have so many temples. This was before he even met before he had anything. But Prabhupada said, we have so many temples, we have so much land, we have so many books being sold, and there are thousands of devotees. Prabhupada, he knew, he was so confident in Krishna that he knew everything was going to come. That's a pure devotee. He has that much faith in Krishna that he knows that Krishna can give everything. He's, he owns the whole universe. He's maintaining the ants and the elephants. So why shouldn't he maintain the devotees? We just have to have faith in Krishna. So Prabhupada was saying, he knew, we have everything. Everything's established. It's all a matter of faith. And then but always remembering Krishna, never forgetting Krishna, we become fearless, actually. Because the material world brings fear, especially when you're attached to the results. It brings fear. And as soon as you forget Krishna, fear. Being fearless means that you understand that Krishna is everything in my life. He's maintainer, he gives everything, and I have to give everything to him in return. Just like the gopis, there's that story where Krishna had a headache, right? Well, he pretended to have a headache. Krishna had a headache. And the cure was that it would be the dust from the lotus feet of the devotees would cure Krishna's headache if he put that on his head. So they went all over, everywhere. Shiva, they went to Shiva and he said, no, I'm not doing that. I'll end up going to hell. And all the demigods and the rishis, and no, we're not doing this. But then they went to the gopis. And the gopis thought, well, if we go to hell, that's okay. As long as Krishna's happy. As long as Krishna gets rid of his headache. Now, of course, this is the highest standard. But it just shows you, the gopis epitomize this full surrender and mood of just doing everything for pleasing Krishna and nothing else. So, Krishna consciousness is actually, Prabhupada explains here, it's four, where is it? Yeah, Prabhupada says here. This movement is progressing, going forward without impediments. This is a very interesting point. And also, I forgot to mention, it's nice, right at the end of the purport, Srila Prabhupada just writes, in the three very sublime words, chant Hare Krishna. So Prabhupada's reminding us, just at the end, how we can actually become free from material desires. It's the holy name. Prabhupada's always reminding us. So this is, Krishna consciousness is progressing. It's always moving forward. Never stagnant, should never be stagnant. Stagnation is only something from the material world. It doesn't exist in the spiritual realm. The word stagnation. Just like a river, when a river stops flowing, then it becomes clogged up with dirt and so many things. And then the oxygen goes out of the river, the fish die, the plants die, and it looks and smells horrible. So we don't want our spiritual life to end up like a stagnated river. It has to constantly be flowing. Spiritual life is an ever-increasing experience, new experiences. In the spiritual world, you never experience the same thing once. It's constantly, for eternity, it's just constant, progressing. But unless we actually make an effort to purify our heart from these material desires and the results to want to enjoy our devotional service, then there's always a danger that one day our Bhakti Lata Kripa will become strangled by these material desires and we may leave the association of devotees. Shrimvatam svakata Krishna punya shravana kirtana ridyantasto hi bhadrani vitanoti sritsatam. Krishna is in the heart of the faithful devotee, and he purifies the heart of that devotee from material desires. When that devotee has an urge, he has a taste for hearing and chanting about Krishna. So Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, these processes are the most important processes in our spiritual life. Hearing and chanting about Krishna. Only this can purify the heart, nothing else. Yeah? Nothing else. Only this will purify our material desires. Otherwise we can go on for millions of years, we won't get anything. We need to come to the point of Anya Bilasta Sunyam, Jnana Kumadhyana Vritam. Being free from the desire to want to enjoy the fruits and mental speculation. Mental speculations compared to a ghost that haunts you and gives you mental problems. So we have to avoid the ghost of mental speculation. Yeah. By always remembering Krishna, He is my Lord and Master, He is my well-wisher, He is the owner of everything, then constantly remembering this in every aspect of our life, we can overcome quite easily. And giving ourselves, giving our devotion to Him. Then it'd be very easy at the end time of death to think of Krishna. Okay, I think I'll stop there. Any questions, comments?